So a bit of a strange one today, and I thought I would start this video with a shot of where I am and my watch face. I used to do this, so I thought I would show you again my watch face. So there we go. Let's put that back in and onto the video. So hello again, and the reason that I'm making this video today is that it's exactly 1 year ago that I shot the first video for the Luxmaster channel, and my computer kept on reminding me that it's been exactly 1 year, and made me think, okay, I really do have to make a video today, even though I am not prepared, and I really haven't had a chance to even think about it. But the date made me say to myself, okay, I have to go out there and shoot something. So I was thinking about my location today, and I could have done it inside, but I'm a little bit busy there, and perhaps I will make a video there, but I thought I'd come outside because it's a little more interesting. And I thought if we could right now, I could just spin around, and I'm in the north of England, and it's a bit of a grey day today, but I quite like it. There is a motorway just here that is providing quite a bit of noise, but I have this windjammer on my microphone, and I've got it set so that it removes the noise from the motorway. So hopefully we're going to be okay there, and you won't be able to hear the motorway. But I've walked along here before, and I thought it was quite pleasant, and apart from the noise, it's really nice here. So yeah, I thought I would come out. It's a little chilly. You might be able to see I mean, he says wearing short sleeves, and yeah, I'm a little. It's not the warmest, but it's okay. Anyway, so the channel is 1 year old today, and in my earlier videos, I was prompted to make a video about the virus because that was 1 year ago, and you know, it's a very interesting time for us and for the rest of the world. So that video is still there, so you can see that. And in fact, I'll put a link down below. And once again, you know, hair and makeup haven't done a very good job. In fact, they didn't even turn up for work. So, you know, I look a disaster still. And I need to sort out my appearance, I think. And anyway, but so the original reason for these videos is to provide an informative view about the world we live in, through the lens of business, really. Being a business consultant, that's where my work experience is. Most of it has been in technology related companies, and in technology. That's where my interests lay, and I've produced some other videos chatting about, you know, what I like, that sort of thing, and that's all very well. But I'm really hoping to create content that is actually informative and educational. Obviously, you know, it's my opinion, and I'm basing my opinion on my work experiences and you know, experiences I've had and learning that I've gained, you know, and it's all helped shape and modify, you know, my behavior, my personality, you know, so I have the thoughts that I have from my environment and, you know, work experience. And I've created some disclaimers, and they're dotted around the channel. And basically they say, look, I'm doing my best providing content that's educational and informative, and you know, I'm trying to provide accurate information. I'm not trying to spruik any, conspiracy theories or mislead people. Everything is really, my opinion, and I hope it's a value. So really, that's what this channel is all about, and I thought I would just spin around actually, because it is quite. It's nice here. Well, the reason I like it, no one's walking around. These days, I think I'm becoming antisocial, and I don't like being with people anymore. I much prefer cats, animals, basically not people. I like peace and quiet. I think I'm getting old and stuck in my ways or something. I'm turning into a hermit. This is what a hermit looks like when they're younger, and it's a downhill slope from where we are right now. But so we're a year on, and the date today is the 3rd of November 2022. The 3rd of November 2022. So it's exactly a year I made the first video. And today we have, the backdrop that we all are facing is the Ukraine war. And obviously that's, a nuisance and, a very sad situation for everybody really, in particular the Ukrainian soldiers and the Russian soldiers that are putting down their lives, and lots of them have been killed. And it does have massive impact on the rest of the world because of natural resources, in particular energy and hydrocarbons that Russia has a lot of. Also foodstuffs that Ukraine manufacture. This war in particular has had a huge impact on the normal distribution of these resources, and everyone on the planet is most probably everyone on the planet is feeling the consequences of those. Even if it's a comment in the news media that happens daily, that this conflict is taking place, and it's a terrible tragedy really. It's the only way you can view a conflict like this. It's a terrible tragedy. And like many people, I feel very sad for this situation. I feel very sorry for people that have been directly impacted, or families of people that have lost their lives, and for everyone that's been impacted. So, I think I probably speak for a lot of people here, in fact most people that aren't directly involved. We all are indirectly involved a little bit, and it's a sad situation. So this has the backdrop really for the next big issue that we are all facing in the West, and that is the rising prices. And we are constantly indicated, or we're constantly told about, we're offered these words: recession, interest rates, price increases, quantitative easing, quantitative tightening. Quantitative easing is literally where a central bank prints more money and gives it to people that already have lots of money. That essentially is quantitative easing. And what's supposed to happen is that we have trickle-down economics, which means that if a central bank makes lots of money, that money ends up in the pockets of workers, people working, and people that can do something with cash resource, i.e. they can build a company or create more jobs. That's the whole idea of quantitative easing and trickle-down economics. My opinion is that can work. It's ideology that certainly can work. My understanding and experience is it doesn't work very well. Now, so we also have quantitative tightening, which is when the central bank stops printing money or prints less money, and that has the reverse effect of starving people of money because there's less cash in the money supply to unlock and develop resources. Now, it also has a strange impact on the value of a currency, because essentially it increases the value of that currency. So that's something that they have to deal with, and they use words like inflation and recession to try and explain what's going on here. A recession and inflation and interest rates, those words are also offered as an explanation that the central banks use to describe what they're doing in terms of managing this situation. And they claim that quantitative easing, quantitative tightening are the two taps that they have that help them regulate a currency working in the environment. Now, on the face of it, all of that is pretty much how it works. It's a good overall explanation of how cash works in society. How cash works in society, but also how money works, and ultimately how it stimulates an economy or makes an economy grow. Because in effect, how a central bank-based money system and economy works is that people, you and I, are incentivized to go out, sell our labor for an income, do a job that creates value for yourself or somebody else. In return, you are paid a part of that profit in a salary, and that enables you to go out, buy bread and provisions and a roof over your head. And that is exactly what a central bank-based monetary system economy is and how it works. It's as simple as that. A central bank is there to enable you and I, the man in the street, a workforce, to simply do a job that creates a product or service that is the economy, that provides you with a living and enables you to go to work, earn a salary and put food on the table, a roof over your head, and that's how it all works. Now, it is quite interesting that once again, that very, very simple notion can become so complicated. And it is complicated, especially when you look at a country's domestic trade, how it domestically trades, makes things, and that same country's foreign policy that dictates what can be sold externally to that country, what we make that we sell abroad. Because essentially what that does, when a country makes something and sells it to another country, they receipt the value of that normally in the currency of the country that's purchased that item, enabling your country or your business to actually purchase products and services that are in their country. And that's essentially foreign trade. Domestic trade is the same thing, but it's a product being sold to you and I, or to your neighbour using the same currency. Foreign policy deals with the same thing happening, but it uses a different currency. So the value of that currency has to be regulated via a foreign policy. And or a trade arrangement or a trade agreement or trade embargoes. Essentially, it's how a country determines its value of currency against the currency of another country. Now, yes, legitimately that does get complicated and is not as straightforward to explain, but essentially that's what's going on. One of the things that you can very quickly arrive at, though, is hang on, that means that we live in a global village, really. Because if the only difference is the central bank, surely there's a point where we can make each central bank's currency value an amount that we can work with, and in fact that's exactly what does happen. Right now the British pound is quite weak against the dollar, the euro, which means that if the UK manufactures something that appears to be cheaper to other countries around the world, in particular the dollar and euro, they can actually buy our products and services a little bit cheaper, in particular the dollar right now, because the dollar is so strong against the pound. So in one respect that's really bad for people in the UK that want to go on holiday or buy products in Europe or America, because those items are much more expensive. But it's great if you're a business in the UK that has customers that, in Europe or America, because what you've done overnight is become a lot more price competitive because your goods are much cheaper. So it very much is swings and roundabouts. You don't want your currency to be too cheap against other currencies, because it makes going on holiday and buying foreign cars very expensive. So you don't, but it's fabulous for trade, for you provisioning, for you selling your finished goods. So you can see how that can be a very interesting thing. In actual fact, over the year, it tends to be quite cyclic. There are times of the year where your own currency is stronger and weaker against the major other currencies. And central banks, hedge funds, investment funds, people that trade in currencies are aware of that, and they hedge against all that. They have investment plans and all sorts of interesting financial vehicles that allow them to help regulate those fluctuations, and on the whole that sort of works. But once again, and really the point I'm making in this video is, we're in November 2022 and we are facing a recession, interest rate rises, trouble in Ukraine, some large geopolitical problems, all centered around the economy actually, and our relationship. Our relationship with other countries isn't too bad, apart from Russia obviously. Lots of countries have decided to take a negative view against Russia, and there are many reasons for that. But if you watch the news every day, or listen to the news on the radio, you would really think that the world's falling apart, because they claim that interest rates are skyrocketing, which they are. Inflation is skyrocketing, which it is. The price of everything's going up, which it is. People have less money in their pocket, which is very true. And if you literally listen to the news, you wouldn't be blamed for walk away thinking, gosh, this is terrible. I live in a terrible world. I have less money, or I have no money, or I can't pay my mortgage, or I can't pay my bills. Things really are getting quite bad. And for some people, what I've just said is actually a reality. So listening to the news probably doesn't help very much. You're going to be tasked with fixing those problems, which essentially, normally for a lot of people boils down to they just need a bit more money, or a lot more money. But the news is delivering this message of doom and gloom. It's all we seem to get, and central banks are there to the rescue. Now, if I worked for a central bank, or if I was a central bank, I might be saying to the news media, hey, I, the central bank, is very much your guardian angel here. If it wasn't for me, things would get much, much worse, and you should be glad that I'm actually in existence and I have the stability that I do have. Now, a central bank could say that, and I myself could probably argue why that is the case. Now, the other person could easily say, hold on, if it wasn't for the central banks, we wouldn't be in this mess in the first place. Because what central banks seem to have done, or what they seem to do, is create continued inequality. They seem to create a society or support a society that has lots of many wealthy people and many more poor people. Actually, I should say that differently. Central banks seem to have created a society that has, in majority, lots of poor people and very few very wealthy people, and all the control seems to be in the hands of those very wealthy people. Now, a philosopher or someone that studied sociology, or anyone really, could say, hold on a second, we live in a democracy, which means that essentially the country is governed by the voting population. Now, this is something that I don't actually agree with anymore. I don't think that the general public are as in control as they think they are. Politics and the media certainly give people the impression that the voting general public have some control or are in control of the political environment. And to a degree they certainly are, but the general public is certainly not in control of what goes on in the world, that is for sure. Somebody could argue that that the general public have voted in the right people, that have appointed the right people to make those big decisions in government, which is possible. That is plausible. And so that's true. What would I say? I would say that I can see both sides of this coin. I can see both arguments of a debate that centres itself around political systems, central banks running a country. Myself, my work experience, what I think, I can see both sides of this story. The question becomes, do we have a good situation, or a situation that is the best of it is the best outcome that we could possibly have? For me, that is the big question. Now, in the past, I've had a few conversations with some very important people and qualified people about this stuff. And some people take the view that today's world that we live in, so remember we're in 2022, November, and things are pretty good when considering everything. That's their general view. They simply think, things could be much worse, we should be grateful for what we have. Now, if you're in a civilized Western democracy, I could see that might fit, yes, especially if you are looking at dictatorship-led countries, other countries around the world. Other people will take the view that the world today, based on where we've come from and how developed we are and technology that's available, it is shocking that we have a world like this, that we still have poverty, that we still have social depravity, that we still have unbelievable antisocial behavior that some people want to do. Some people will take the view, no, we live in a dystopian time, things are really bad. So you're always going to find these two views opposed to each other, and what you're trying to do is actually get to the meat and potatoes, or the actual facts that enable you to take an accurate view. And this is the challenge, because these subjects are enormous, and they take a lot of time to understand. The framework is enormous. You have to understand politics, economics, micro and macroeconomics. You have to understand military capabilities, history, military war, sociology, philosophy, engineering and technology. You've got to have all that stuff in your mind and understood, and all part of your frame of reference in which to understand the world we live in and how it works. And then someone like me comes along and makes claims about being a business person and knows what they are doing, and it's very interesting, because business requires all of these things I talk about to actually be in place and work for business to happen in the first place. Business is a consequence of geopolitics. Business is a consequence of central bank policy. Business is the context, is the consequence of sociology, morality, and philosophy. Business happens because of these things. Anyway, I've got a little clock on here that says I've been chatting for about 25 minutes now, and today this really is all I have time for. I have to get back now and deal with my life. Actually, one last thing before I go. This year, since I've started making these videos for YouTube, it's exactly a year today. This year has been very, very strange. My life seems to have got I was about to say it's got tougher. I'm not going to say that because I don't know how accurate it is. But this year has certainly been very, very challenging. I've had work problems. I've had other life problems. I've been rushed to hospital in an ambulance on 2 occasions, which has been very shocking. Other things have happened in my life. My family have had some struggles, and it hasn't been a bed of roses. Anyway, maybe I will come back to that, but today I just wanted to say happy birthday to myself and to this channel, and we will speak again soon. And I hope everyone is well, and speak again soon.